And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. Lots of news on both the political and business fronts this week. Much of it centered around the economy and, in particular, the actions of the Federal Reserve. The markets had a tough week, tumbling to a point where we had the worst month since the Great Depression. Think about that. And the worst year since the recession of a decade ago. Now, there are a lot of factors that go into that, including trade policy and continuing concerns over tariffs and potential trade wars. But this has much to do with the economy-killing monetary policy of the Federal Reserve, which this week made yet another announcement of a rate increase, the fourth of the year, the seventh since the Trump administration, and the ninth since they began to hike rates after they were essentially at zero 3 years ago. Now, if you think about quantitative easing giving us a 10-year bull market, what's quantitative tightening going to do? Well, the market's down 4,000 points since October, basically the time the last rate increase kicked in, and oil prices are down 40% in that same period, another indicator of recession and real concern for the U.S. economy and the worldwide economy as well. The Fed's rate hike announcement wasn't immediately met with a negative reaction by the market. In fact, it was ticking along pretty well prior to the announcement, dipped down a little bit on what was generally expected to be an announcement of a slight rate increase. But then came the press conference with Chairman Jerome Powell. And we're in the communications business. We watched pretty closely a man who was obviously well coached and well prepared. In some respects, he had his data and facts down to a fine point, but he wasn't a particularly effective messenger, and he didn't have a very clear message. In fact, he couldn't define or explain what normalization was, and then he ventured off into predictions about 2019 and economic slowdowns and telling us that they were going to keep the balance sheet on autopilot, and the markets cratered. An 800-point swing from the day's high to the day's low. You know, you think about the fact that it took the market until Ronald Reagan's administration to get to 1,000 points. And now we've got 800-point swings on the heels of a single, relatively innocuous announcement in and of itself. And the next day, the markets go down another 500 points. So it doesn't now appear as though there's going to be a Santa Claus rally. And the question is, as we go into 2019, how deep, how significant, and how lasting is that potential slowdown going to be? Because that has tremendous political implications for the 2020 election cycle. But this much is pretty clear. The Fed isn't picking up what the market is putting down. For my friends of the Christian faith, this is a very holy time of the year. And I want to take this moment to say to all of you a very blessed, peaceful, relaxed, healthy, and happy Christmas. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And that is the best 60-ish seconds of our week. Merry Christmas.